All right, get ready because we're diving into some pretty intense philosophy today.
Yeah, this
We're
is
taking on part 3 of Sartre's Being and Nothingness.
the one where things get
Oh, yeah.
existentially tricky.
Exactly. Parts 1 and 2, we got comfortable with being for itself,
Right.
our consciousness, free, making choices, shaping its own identity.
Yeah.
Then part 3 hits us with being for others,
Uh-huh.
and suddenly, other people, they're not just background noise.
No, not at
They
all.
become central to how we experience our own existence.
That's where Sartre really throws a wrench in.
So it's not just about me and my goals anymore.
It's not.
Other people's perceptions actually impact who I am.
That's the idea. Our consciousness becomes
Whoa.
for others,
Okay, I can see where the existential angst comes in.
as well as for itself.
But before we get into the details, can you remind us what Sartre means by intersubjectivity?
Sure. Intersubjectivity is the idea that our experience of the world
Yeah.
is always shaped by other people's consciousnesses. We're never really alone in our thoughts or perceptions.
Right.
There's this constant interplay
So even when I'm by myself, lost in thought,
between our own awareness and the awareness of others.
other people are somehow still present in my consciousness?
Kind of, yeah, because our sense of self develops in relation to others.
That's a bit trippy.
We define ourselves partly by how we think others see us, and those perceptions become part of us.
Real or imagined?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm following so far. But how does this being for others thing work?
Well,
Does Sartre think we just become passive objects in other people's eyes?
he does, and that's where the look comes in,
That doesn't sound very free.
where the gaze.
Oh, right, the look.
It's more than just physically seeing someone.
Okay,
It's the awareness of being perceived as an object
as an object.
in someone else's world.
So like I'm walking down the street feeling like the main character
You got it.
in my own movie.
And then someone looks at you.
Uh-oh.
You suddenly become aware of yourself as just a body,
Not the main character anymore.
an object in their view.
Yeah,
You're not the director anymore. You're an extra in their movie.
subject to their interpretation.
Exactly. You become aware of your facticity. All those things about yourself that you can't change.
Oh, right, like
Your appearance, your past choices.
how tall I am,
Now seen through their lens,
Exact-
filtered through their judgment.
their assumptions.
Yeah,
That is unsettling.
it is. It can be very uncomfortable.
Makes you suddenly aware of all the ways you might not measure up to.
Even if you don't know what those expectations are.
Yeah, to their expectations.
That's the power of the look.
It's a bit unnerving.
It triggers self-consciousness, shame.
A sense of losing control.
You lose control of your own image.
I'm starting to understand why Sartre said, hell is other people.
A very famous quote.
It's not that other people are evil,
It's not meant literally, no.
but that this whole dynamic of being seen, judged, potentially objectified,
It can feel like torment.
it can be rough.
It reflects the inherent conflict in relationships.
Mhm.
We want to be recognized by others, understood,
Seen.
but wanting to be seen exposes us
To judgment.
to the risk of being reduced to an object.
It's a catch-22. We need others to see us,
It is.
but we also fear being objectified by their gaze.
Yeah, that's the dilemma.
It's a tough one,
The central dilemma in part 3.
and it plays out in all our relationships.
From the smallest interactions to the deepest love.
Right. I can see how this applies to casual interactions,
Uh-huh.
like feeling judged by a stranger.
Or worrying what people think of your clothes.
Yeah, at a party.
Exactly.
But surely love is different.
What?
Love is about seeing the other person for who they truly are,
Sartre would say
beyond those superficial judgments.
that even love, maybe especially love,
Really?
is full of these tenets.
Oh, no, don't tell me Sartre is going to ruin love for us, too.
He has a pretty pessimistic view of love and being and nothingness.
Okay, maybe ruin is a strong word, but...
He sees love as this impossible project,
Impossible.
where we try to possess another person's freedom while also respecting it.
Wait, how is that even possible?
It's a paradox.
Isn't love about wanting to be close to someone, to share your life with them?
It is. But the problem is the desire to completely possess
To possess.
the other person's consciousness
Oh, I see.
to make them an extension of ourselves.
Like they're not their own person.
Exactly. By trying to control or define someone, even in love,
Even in love.
we deny their freedom
Hmm.
and turn them into an object for our own satisfaction.
So even when we feel most connected, most in love,
Yes,
there's still that look at play.
absolutely. And that creates conflict.
Yeah, big time.
Because while we're trying to possess the other person,
Yeah.
we also want to be loved for who we are as free subjects.
So we want to be seen, but not reduced
Right.
to someone's interpretation of us.
That's the contradiction.
It does feel like a contradiction. Like we want to merge with the other person, but also keep that individuality.
Sartre would say those desires are incompatible,
That's heavy stuff. So he sees love as
inherently unstable,
maybe even...
or doomed.
Oh, Sartre. Okay, so maybe not the most romantic outlook.
Not exactly a love guru.
But what about friendship?
Well,
Surely those relationships are less intense,
Sartre would say,
less prone to this power struggle.
the same conflicts are there even if they're not as intense.
You mean the look is still operating in friendships?
Think about it.
My friends are judging me, objectifying me.
Not necessarily negatively,
Oh, okay.
but even in good friendships, there's comparison, evaluation.
Oh, you're right.
We're sizing each other up.
Vying for recognition, validation.
Sometimes.
You know what? You're right. I've definitely had friendships where I felt pressure to be a certain way,
That's what Sartre's getting at.
to live up to my friends' expectations.
Even in healthy friendships,
Yeah,
there's that tension
between wanting to be ourselves.
and wanting to be seen a certain way by our friends.
So there's no escaping the look,
It's a fundamental part of human interaction.
no matter what kind of relationship we're in.
Even casual encounters with strangers.
Wait, beyond friendships and romantic relationships?
There's that element of mutual objectification.
Seriously. Even just walking down the street.
Think about it. We're always making snap judgments about people we see,
I am.
even subconsciously.
Wow, you're blowing my mind.
We notice clothing, hairstyle, body language.
Yeah.
We form an instant impression of them,
You're right.
even if we never talk to them.
We're all constantly evaluating each other.
That's what Sartre wants us to see.
Categorizing.
The pervasiveness of the look.
This is making me hyper aware of every interaction.
How it shapes our perceptions
It's exhausting.
and behaviors.
No wonder Sartre thought hell is other people.
It can feel that way, but
It can.
Sartre isn't saying we should all become hermits
Oh, good.
and
Like,
avoid
I
contact.
like people.
He's not advocating for isolation,
Okay.
but for being more conscious, deliberate.
So instead of just reacting to the look,
Yes.
feeling self-conscious, ashamed,
We can choose to respond differently.
we can choose.
That's where authenticity comes in.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Sartre believes genuine connection is possible,
Within this framework of being for others.
but it takes work.
I'm all ears. I need a little hope after all this look talk.
I understand it can feel disorienting,
It can.
but Sartre offers a path,
Okay.
a way to relate to others more consciously, intentionally.
So instead of just letting the look control us,
Exactly.
we can make deliberate choices.
About how we interact with the world.
And that's where authenticity comes in.
That's it.
Okay, I'm ready for this.
Are you ready to dive in?
Let's see if we can find some solid ground
To authenticity.
in this existential mess.
Let's do it.
So we were talking about how Sartre sees love in being and nothingness.
Not exactly a Hallmark movie.
Pretty bleak, right?
Yeah, pretty bleak.
Why exactly is he so pessimistic about love?
Well, for Sartre, in this book at least, love is this fundamentally paradoxical thing.
Okay.
You're trying to possess someone's freedom
Possess their freedom.
while at the same time wanting to respect it.
I can see how that's a problem.
It's a real head-scratcher.
But can you explain a little more?
Sure.
Isn't love about wanting to be close to someone, share your life?
Right, but think about that desire to merge.
To merge.
With the person you love.
Okay, yeah.
To become one.
To know everything about them.
Yeah, to dissolve those boundaries.
I get that feeling.
But Sartre says that's the issue.
Really? Why?
By trying to possess their consciousness, their inner world, we deny their freedom.
We do.
We try to make them fit our image of them.
Make them into
An object for our own satisfaction.
Oh, I see.
It's still that dynamic of the look.
Even in love,
Yeah.
we're objectifying each other.
Even if we don't mean to, yeah.
Because of that desire to possess.
It creates this huge
We
conflict.
love itself.
We want to possess them,
Right.
but we also want to be loved for who we really are.
As free beings.
It's a tough one.
It's like we're saying,
It is.
love me for me, but also be exactly who I want you to be.
Exactly. And that's why
No wonder Sartre thinks it's doomed.
relationships fail, because it's self-defeating.
Okay, Sartre is definitely making me rethink love a bit.
He's not exactly Dr. Phil.
But let's talk about friendship.
Okay.
Surely there's less of that power dynamic there.
Well,
It's more equal.
Sartre might say the same conflicts are present,
Seriously.
even if the intensity is different.
So the look is operating in friendships too.
Not always in a bad way.
Okay, that's good.
But think about it, even with friends,
Yeah,
there's comparison, evaluation.
we are always comparing ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah, vying for recognition, validation.
You know, I never thought about it that way.
Mm.
But you're right. I've definitely felt pressure in friendships
To be a certain
to
way,
fit a certain mold.
to be accepted.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be valued by your friends.
Even in good friendships, there's this tension between being ourselves.
And being seen a certain way.
So even with friends, we can't escape the look.
It's everywhere,
It's like this invisible force.
shaping how we interact.
No matter how close we are to someone.
Sartre says it goes even further.
Wait, further than friendships?
Even those quick encounters with strangers.
You mean like
You got it.
just passing someone on the street?
There's a little bit of mutual objectification.
You're kidding, right?
We make snap judgments about everyone we see,
Yeah, I guess I do.
even subconsciously.
It's true.
Clothes, hairstyle, body
Lots of
language.
little details.
We form an instant impression.
Even if we don't talk to them.
That's it.
Wow, you're making me super self-conscious.
It's all about
It's
awareness.
just a bit much.
Sartre wants us to see it,
How the look shapes us.
how we act.
It can feel like hell is other people.
Sometimes it does.
It really does.
But Sartre is not saying become a hermit,
Thank goodness.
completely avoid people.
I'm not ready for that.
He's saying be more conscious.
More deliberate. So
Yeah.
instead of just automatically reacting to the look,
You can choose how to respond.
we have a choice.
That's the key.
And that's where authenticity comes in.
Exactly.
This is starting to sound more hopeful.
It is.
Give me some of that Sartre hope.
He says connection is possible,
Even with all this look stuff,
but it's a challenge.
I'm ready for the challenge. Lay it on me.
Are you ready to dive into authenticity?
Let's do it. So we've really explored this idea of being for others.
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Definitely some ugly in there.
Sartre doesn't sugarcoat it.
How the look can make us feel so judged.
Objectified,
There's-
wrapped in other people's perceptions.
It makes you wonder if real connection is even possible.
When you're always thinking about those layers of judgment,
It's a lot to think about.
it is, but Sartre does offer us some hope.
Okay, good.
He thinks authenticity, genuine connection,
It's possible.
it's possible, even with all this look stuff.
Okay, I'm listening, but before we get into that, remind me what Sartre even means by authenticity?
Sure,
It's one of those words that gets thrown around a lot.
it is.
What's the Sartrean take?
For Sartre, it's not about finding some true self
Like hidden deep down.
buried under social conditioning.
Right, peeling back the layers.
It's not about that.
So it's not about conforming to some perfect image of who we should be.
No, not at all. It's about taking responsibility
Responsibility.
for our choices, even when it's tough.
Even with the pressure of the look.
Even then, we're always influenced by others,
We are.
but we can choose how we respond.
So we acknowledge the influence, but we still have power.
That's the key. Our freedom's never absolute.
Right, we're not living in a vacuum.
We're in a social context
But we still have the capacity to choose.
to act, to shape ourselves,
So it's finding that balance.
It is.
Between being for others.
and being for itself.
How do we actually do that?
That's the big question.
How do we become more authentic in relationships?
It's a process.
With all the look and the expectations and pressure.
A constant struggle, Sartre said.
So we don't just achieve authenticity and then we're done.
No, no, no. It's a product.
A lifelong project.
Every single day. It's about self-creation,
Okay.
constantly questioning, making sure our choices
Our choices are...
align with our values.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is, but it's how we live, consciously.
Intentional.
And our actions shape us and the world.
It's daunting, but also empowerable.
It is both.
Like there's potential for real growth in that struggle.
That's the spirit.
But for someone listening who thinks, I want to be more authentic,
Uh-huh.
where do they start?
Sartre would say, start with awareness.
Awareness of...
The look, how it's affecting you every day.
So pay attention to when you feel self-conscious.
Judged, objectified.
Yeah.
Take a moment, pause, reflect.
So think about it.
Why am I feeling this? What's making me uncomfortable?
But once you're aware,
Then you can start to question it.
so don't just accept those feelings of shame or self-doubt.
Right. Dig deeper. Are these expectations really mine?
Or am I letting others control my choices?
That's the question.
And if the answer is, I am letting others control me,
Then you have a choice.
two paths,
Keep conforming
two expectations that don't fit my values.
or choose a different path,
And that's more me.
more aligned with who you want to be.
And that might mean tough conversations.
It might, setting boundaries,
Maybe even ending relationships.
the ones that aren't working anymore.
But remember, freedom for Sartre,
It's not about doing whatever I want.
it's about choosing responsibly.
My choices should reflect my values.
Even when it's hard, even when it's unpopular.
So it's not being selfish.
No.
It's being true to myself,
Aligning your actions with your beliefs.
even if it means going against the grain.
Sometimes you have to.
But does that mean I stop caring what others think completely?
Sometimes you have to.
But does that mean I stop caring what others think completely?
Not necessarily.
So it's not about shutting everyone out.
No, we're social beings. We need connection. Right, we need each other.
But genuine connection requires authenticity.
So we show up as ourselves.
Let ourselves be seen
It's about finding those relationships where we can be seen.
and respected for who we are,
Without pretending.
without conforming.
That's what I want.
That's where the real meaning is.
Even with all this being for others stuff.
Even then, it's about those people who see us,
Not just as objects.
but as the complex subjects we are.
That's a beautiful thought. It's reassuring to know that kind of connection is possible.
It is.
Even if it takes work.
It's a lifelong journey.
And self-reflection.
There's no finish line.
We never just arrive.
It's about embracing the struggle
The push and pull.
between our inner world and the outer world.
Between who we are and what others expect.
That's where the beautiful is, Sartre would say.
Not about being perfect,
No.
but about embracing the messiness of being human.
And being in relationship.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
This deep dive into Sartre's being for others.
It's a lot to take in.
I've been all over the place emotionally.
That's philosophy for it.
From a little terrified of the look to hopeful about authentic connection.
It makes you think.
It definitely has. So to everyone listening,
Yeah.
sit with these
See
ideas.
how the look shows up in your life,
Think about what it means to be more authentic.
in your relationships.
It's
Okay.
challenging. It's the path to a more meaningful life.
For yourself and the world.
So keep questioning, keep choosing, and keep creating a life that's truly yours.